Okay, Laura, is recording up.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. We'll call this Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Supervisor Ron Campbell to lead us in that. Please join in the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and Supervisor Campbell. We will now go to call to the public. Is there anyone that'd like to address the board and call to the public? Daniel?
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Daniel Cervantes, Clifton, Greene County resident. I have two items I'd like to share with you today. But before I do, I just want to share something else that happened on my way down here. I was walking by the Go-Go gas station, and there was a large truck on top of the railroad tracks, and it was going in reverse. And then the driver stopped, and then it started going forward. It was on top of the railroad tracks. And there was an emblem on the truck that said AE, so I don't know where the truck came from. Anyway, I wanted to share a copy of this week's Capoeira. I think the interest on the front page. The front page article, Cinema, Siscomani meet with local leaders. Just recently, U.S. Arizona Senator Christian Cinema and recently elected Congressman Juan Siscomani met with a variety of local leaders at the campus of their Eastern Arizona College. The article mentioned Greene County Supervisor David Gomez and Greene County Supervisor Richard Lunt in attendance, as well as Clifton Mayor Laura Durrell and Duncan Mayor Alex Blake. The article is self-explanatory, so you need to take the entire paper home. And when you have time to sit down and time to remember what you actually saw and who you met. A second article on the front page titled FMI Cleanup Old Mine Tailings, mostly in Clifton. Local journalist Walt Morris has done a great job in researching and compiling the information on this article. And the second item I shared with you is the agenda for today's Town of Clifton regular meeting at the town hall at 2 p.m. The agenda is also self-explanatory. You might want to attend the council meeting. The Clifton mayor and vice mayor to Clifton and fellow council members have been doing a great job of attending all the regular council meetings. As you three supervisors are doing a great job, as well as our new county well, it's not the new county administrator, but Derek Rapier and his staff as well doing a great job. And also our new recently appointed county attorney, Jerry Griffin. Thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to address you.
Thank you.
Anyone else can call the public? Sheriff?
Oh, sure, Tim Sumner here. Just passed out this presentation, which last time I asked you to put on the agenda. I did fill out an agenda form, request form. It was in proper time. However, I'm not gonna be able to speak on this fully. I did meet with Derek and Tony the other day with my administration. Again, that just kind of reemphasized to me that going through and trying to have those meetings with Derek, it reemphasized to me the kind of the waste of time in doing so. We had what I thought was gonna be a productive meeting. It really, I thought it was. And then right directly afterwards, we had a vehicle that had another wiring issue down at the 5 minutes after I left. I came across it and sent a text. It's in the packet, you'll see. And you know, things changed within less than an hour after we had a meeting about the priorities and how things would get taken care of. And Mr. Hines told me to send a deputy out to get that wiring issue. He'd get a guy on it right away. And it didn't happen. I just want to clarify one thing. I don't have time to go through the whole packet. I sent you an email right now to the clerk that has the comprehensive one. This is just for a shorter version for the board. For the board and for the public to see, really the pictures speak for themselves. You can see some of the major issues in wiring. I just want to make it very clear though, I do not speak negatively about individual people or the capacity. This right here says extreme incompetence and the danger. And this is about the training issues I'm talking about. There are extremely dangerous and very serious wiring issues all throughout this. And this is just a snapshot of a lot of the wiring issues. I don't have time to go into all of it. If you want to talk more about it, I can. I did meet with Derek and Tony. I'll send them more information as well. But long story short is as we went through and pulling these GPS units out that you guys went through, put it in behind our backs, which we already talked about those shenanigans, but we took them out. In the midst of doing so, we see all these wiring issues that are extremely, extremely dangerous. Again, you three gentlemen as a board, Mr. Rapier, Ron Bedros, Mr. Adams, Mr. Hines, never spoke bad about anybody. However, as far as job performance, I'll say this is extremely poor job performance, and I don't believe it's truly on those mechanics out there. I think it's a lack of training, and that falls back on you as the board to make sure they're receiving the proper training so that they can have proper wiring jobs. And you look at this, it's horrendous. It's very dangerous. And the guys are very, very nervous about this when you look through some of these things. I do have one of the ones, I can't believe you'll see a photo in here where it was soldered right to the top of a fuse, the wires soldered top of the fuse to draw power. It's now in my office as a memento of the dangers there and show and tell item really. But again, the whole comment towards me about O.J. Simpson, I don't believe in ever talking about people personally. I say you guys are good, man. You do great in the community. These other guys do as well. I appreciate everyone what they do outside their work performance, but as our job performance and our job duties, we have got to make sure that we're providing the safety that's needed. That right there is not the safety that's needed. If you look at this, you'll see it is extremely dangerous. There needs to be some serious training, and that's why we need to have our vehicles taken somewhere else to get the proper wiring and the proper services taken care of. So our needs are not being met this way. So thank you for your time. I know it's up. So
Austin, can you follow up with Tony to find out, one, is it only the police department that are working on our vehicles? Or has anybody else worked on our vehicles besides the police department? So I want to find out where the root cause is. Please, thank you.
Okay, anyone else in call to the public?
So I just have one item to go over. This is just a correction on the attorney's fee information that was given. I'm going to go ahead and read through this. At the July 26, 2023 board meeting, during the discussion of the final FY24 budget, I was asked, this is from Derek. I was asked how much has been spent by Greenlee County on the lawsuit what the sheriff's office has filed against the Board of Supervisors. To the best of my recollection, I said approximately 120 had been spent, with approximately 770 being spent to pay for the sheriff's attorneys and approximately 50 being spent to pay for the attorneys for the board. I inadvertently mixed up the figures on how much have been spent on each side of the dispute. The estimate should have been approximately 50,000 for the sheriff and 70,000 for the board. I apologize for this misstatement. Each law firm bills the county approximately once a month, but at different times during the month. On August 8th, 2023, the county received an additional bill from the sheriff's attorneys in the amount of $14,192.86. As of August 10th, 2023, the county has been charged a total of $73,560.70 by the attorneys representing the board, and $65,221.14 has been charged by the attorneys representing the sheriff. It is important to remember that the taxpayers of Greenlee County are paying for both sides of this lawsuit. The amount of attorney's fees that have been charged to Greenlee County because of the sheriff's lawsuit is $138,781.84.
Thank you. Anything else in call to the public? If not, we'll go to agenda item. Excuse me. 2. The Board of Supervisors will convene as the Board of Directors of Greenlee County Public Health Service Districts, and after the order of business will reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. A consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. You're convened as the Board of Supervisors, and we will convene as the Board of Directors of Green County Flood Control District. And after order of business, we'll reconvene as the Board of Supervisors following consideration of these items. A, consent agenda.
So move the consent agenda is posted. I'll second that.
Have a motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We will now go to agenda. We are convened as the Board of Supervisors, and we will now go to agenda item 4. Reed Larson, County Engineer. Good morning.
Morning. I appreciate the chance to do this morning, do with Derek, and thought it would be appropriate. But give you just those brief, very informal update on roads in and around the county. I'm hoping that we'll finish the W's this week as well. With your permission, I'm gonna return to my seat because I can't see the side, it's not good enough. Go screen. So the first project is Report is working on, they've got a lot of stockpiles that are active at any given time. One that they have on deck is they call it producer stockpile. And I need to figure out how to share this screen. So this is the Lower Eagle Creek Road, the stockpile that they're working on is north of Lower Eagle Creek Road. I'm gonna change the date here. Slide it all the way forward. So over here is 191, and there are a couple of tunnels underneath the haul road that they built, and that's how you get on the Lower Eagle Creek Road. So where you see that, it kind of looks like a snake. But that's the new proposed alignment. The existing road, and I'll pivot this so you can see that ridge. The existing road goes down the other side, what we'll call the north side of that ridge. And the new proposed alignment goes down the south side of that ridge. This is primarily BLM property. Freeport is interacting with BLM. Greene County has to be the applicant to BLM to get this new right of way for the road, but we're going to do little more than sign our name at the bottom of the application. Report their folks in planning engineering are going to do all the work on that application. And we, as you know, many years ago we adopted Cochise County road standards, and then more recently, a couple of years ago, we re-adopted the current Cochise County road standards. So we've asked their consultant that they've hired to follow those road standards. And they're, in a few cases, they will ask for exceptions to those standards. And Derek and I will work through those as they request. They feel like they would like to start construction early next year. From what I know, the BLM, that's very, very optimistic. So I would be surprised if they started construction
anytime in 2024. So that's a county road. I want to switch over now to some.
Is there a reason why they're wanting to go from the old road to and build a new road?
Just because that new stockpile, I've seen a footprint of that the proposed stockpile. But I don't have one in my possession, but it just encroaches on the old road. Basically, they're gonna bury the
Old road.
old road.
Okay, thank you.
This necessitates the realignment. I need to get more adept at these screen shares. But hopefully. What will show up here momentarily. So this is portions of ADOT's 5-year transportation program. They publish this every year. I'm just gonna button it real quick. I don't want you to feel slighted that you see a relatively low number there for Greeley County. I don't know how this ever got published with that number, but it's completely wrong. They're showing $500,000 for Greeley County, and that's way low. In fact, I think if you added up Greene County's projects, we're a little bit north of our sister county, Grand County. And you'll see that as we work our way through this program. So the first one I've got here is the infamous roundabout. That's the program amount for that is 6.9 million. I'm gonna pull up a couple of TDS here to illustrate. Probably the best way to get a feel for the roundabout is this sheet from the plans right here. This is a pavement marking plan. And what I would draw your attention to on this is for the southbound 191 way, they've created a movement, and not characteristically of ADOT, they actually designed this project in-house. For the past several years, most of these bigger projects, they send them out to consultants, but I don't understand they designed this in-house, but it's a little hard to pick out there, but again, for the southbound 191 way, you don't even enter the roundabout. You go through what I call a shoot fly or a bypass, so you bypass the roundabout entirely. And that's because there's just so much traffic for that particular leg of the intersection. And then you'll see in here, I'll pull up another document for you here real quick, or another sheet from the plans, this typical section. I'm going to zoom in on it. Another question that ADOT gets asked quite often, and I get asked as a county engineer, is how are they going to handle the wide load and the truck traffic through there? And what they're doing is, if you're in a regular vehicle, you're going to operate in this roadway section here. If you can see my mouse, and then they've got this. It's almost 16 feet, but it's a truck apron on the inside. And then in certain locations of the intersection, they're also going to have another truck apron on the outside. So that type C curve that you see there, where my cursor is, there's only a 3-inch difference from the low side to the high side of that curve. So it's a very gentle curve. So the trucks are going to be able to get up on that curve and utilize that truck apron to get through the roundabout. Whether that works remains to be seen. It would be interesting to be parked at the freeway store when a haul truck bed comes through. Just doesn't see what happens. So that's the roundabout. I'm gonna grab another document here and share it.
Is this all beginning in 2024?
So the roundabout is out to bid. And I'll zoom in on that. The bids are going to be opened in November. the project manager said that that roundabout's gonna start in January. I'm not as optimistic. I think it'll start more like February. After they open those bids, they review them, and then they go to the state transportation board for approval. And so it's typically 2 to 3 months after bid opening before they actually break ground. But early 2024 for that roundabout. And then you see underneath that, the US 191, milepost 163 and 173, and I'll try to jump back to,
They've been talking about this roundabout for about 3 or 4 years, and they seem to think that's the safest option that they have for that traffic there. I know, you know, they've been asked quite a few questions about it, but they feel that it's they're really high on that roundabouts, and they feel like that's the safest for that many intersections, and they looked and relooked, and maybe that's why they stayed in-house, is because they've been looking at this quite a few years.
yeah. I was a passenger with my daughter, and we entered a roundabout, and she just charged right into it. And I thought she was gonna kill us. So she didn't understand that if you're already in the roundabout, you have a right of way. And maybe it's motorists like her that got VDOT to, but you see the way they got that stripe, they've got yield signs to show that if you're entering the roundabout, you have the traffic that's already in. And over in Europe and other places where they're common, they don't need that because it's common, that it's ingrained in them. But we're still getting used to them here in the United States. But the point there is, if you do have a contact in a roundabout, it's a side swipe kind of glancing type contact rather than a T-bone. And so even if there are fender benders in a roundabout, they're usually a little more than that, just a fender bender. And you got to take your car to the body shop, but you don't go around. So that's why it's cheap.
Yeah, well, you see them in Utah, you see them in all the state,
DC.
they're all over Sedona. Yeah, they're all over in ADOT now, when this is their, well, that's the way they do it.
So I asked them to put a bus with David and the news right there in the middle, but they.
That'll be taken out with the first haul truck.
This next project is quite an exciting project. I've got a paper on it that's sitting in there on my desk, but this goes from what they call it Tabletop Road, and I believe they meant me to say Ward Canyon Road, but it's right here on at the beginning of Clifton, and then it goes all the way through Morenci through the mine and stops about where earlier I showed you those 2 tunnels where you go down the Lower Creek Road. It's right in that vicinity, excuse me, where this project ends. So it's about 10 miles long. But I draw your attention to the programmed amount there, which is 27 million. So that roundabout to me is a big meaty project for ADOT and certainly for Greene County. And if we go back up and look at it, it's about $7 million is what they program. Construction would be 6.3, or that's what we design. But this other project on 191 is on the order of 4 to 5 times as big as that roundabout in terms of dollar value. And they are really going to dress up 191 and rehabilitate it. And I apologize, I don't have my cheat sheet with me, but they're gonna redo the pavement, they're gonna do curb and gutter, they're gonna do the turnouts and the intersections, redo those, guardrail, sidewalks, siding and striping, they're gonna mess with some traffic signals. So it's a very comprehensive big project. And if I jump back to my spreadsheet, you'll see that It's not gone to bid yet. But construction gonna start in 2024, so I just said probably be the second quarter of 2024.
Could be a mess for a while. I mean, obviously. That shift change, especially, you know.
Yeah, and that's a two, they call it a 2 construction season project. Which I'm interpreting as 2 years. The roundabout, they got a program. I converted the working days to calendar days, and it's about a 13-month project. So you see where they overlap there. And then down, I'll mention briefly a project that's in Graham County, but they're on the stretch. The commuters that are leaving the mine and going down to Graham County, they're gonna go through 3 construction projects for a period of time. And those that are going to southern Greeley County will go through 2 projects for the better part of the year. And when they redo 191 to Clifton or Mincy, there's just no easy way to do that. There's gonna be lane closures and flaggers, and it's gonna get messy. But that's a really exciting project, I think, for Greeley County. The one that I've got highlighted there. And again, that should hit sometime in early to mid 2024. So those are the 2 big ones that Derek and I wanted to present to you. I'll talk briefly about some other ones here. And I think one of the best way to do that might be to pull this exhibit here. So do a new share here. So one of these is the Chase Creek Bridge. This is within the town of Clifton. This right here, you'll recall several months ago, they rehabbed the Zarilla Bridge, or the bridge where my house is. So this is just a little bridge right here. Over Chase Creek, and I think it's about $1 million project, and not gonna take them terribly long to build it. And it is a little bit off the beaten path, so it shouldn't be too impactful to the motorists. Another one that's coming up, and I'll show it to you on here. So this is a stretch, and so this is in Graham County, but they're gonna do a chip seal and then what they call a micro surfacing. And you can see if you zoom in here, you can see where that pavement changes color. So they recently paved to that point. This is where the Black Hill Byways shoots off from 191 top of the stretch. So from there down to the end of the stretch, they're going to do that chip seal and micro surfacing. And that's basically kind of a band-aid or a preservation project. It doesn't add any structural capacity to the road. They're just trying to protect what's there. It'll be a lot quieter. I drive that road every day, so you notice the difference in noise, just the noise when you go from that better, newer pavement to the older stuff. So they're gonna put this Band-Aid on, which will buy them some time until they have to rebuild the pavement. And then a couple of years after that, just for your awareness, this is also in Graham County, but you'll find it of interest. They're gonna construct passing lanes, about 3 miles worth of passing lanes toward the bottom of the stretch. And I can tell you from frequenting that road that people pass there anyway, unsafely. So
Even if cars are coming.
if they put some passing lanes in there, then they'll be able to do that safely rather than blindly like they do now. Let me flip back here and see if there's anything else. The town of Duncan got what they call an Arizona Smart Grant. They're gonna repave some interior streets in the town. These are not on the state or national highway system. They're just within the town. $600,000. That'll happen sometime in 2024. And then way out on 70, you keep up with happenings in Grand County. There's been some pretty tragic accidents on Highway 70 as of late. One very recently where there was a head-on. So they're gonna construct a short passing lane just west of the Vitus Bridge. And then your sister county down in the flats in 2026 is they're gonna rehab US 70. Kind of similar to the 10 miles that they're gonna redo on 191. That's a pretty ambitious project. That's gonna start on Ray Lane and Thatcher, which is the west end of Thatcher. It's gonna run all the way through Thatcher and Safford, and it's gonna end on the east side of Safford at about Hollywood Road. So that's a couple of years out. And also in 2026 are those passing things on the stretch. So that's just a quick and dirty summary of what ADOT has in store for Greenlee and Grand County over the next 5 years. There's another project that they've got programmed. They're gonna rehab the bridges at Rattlesnake Canyon, and both at Rattlesnake and one at Eagle Canyon. But that's so far out, it's not hardly even worth talking about. So that's it, unless you have any questions for me. Great info.
Yeah, thank you. How about the small bridge in Wood Canyon Road between Riverview and Loma Linda?
So that's not on their plan because of the funding source, CDS money.
Right.
And I think once it gets programmed by ADOT, they'll start to show it on their 5-year plan. But it's very much alive and well. We're making progress on that.
Right. Good info, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. A lot of improvement.
Right.
Be a painful couple of years, but it'll be worth it when it's all done.
Okay, if there's nothing more on agenda item 4, we'll go to agenda item 5. Mr. Sumner, you've asked to speak. Okay, Mr. Adams.
Right, my apologies for last time on this. I think we have it straight on here. This is again what it says: discussion action of approval of contract for economic development services, subject to acceptance by other party. This is a contract. Our current economic developer has a rural economic coordinator has moved to Mexico. And we're looking at possibly still pursuing work with her through a contract basis. Right now on this, the contract you guys have in front of you, I've sent this over to her. She has that. I haven't heard anything back on that. And so this is just a chance for us to discuss that contract, get any feedback before and get some approval to discuss more terms with her.
Any questions?
No, just comment. I think it's important that we continue with that. There's a lot of things going on in economic development. I think it's worthwhile to keep that ball rolling. I do see that there's a termination, 30-day termination. So I'm locked in, so we'll see how that works.
I did all those comments. A lot of things going on. We need to keep that door open and moving.
I have no questions, so a motion would be in order.
Well, been said, I so move that we consider the approval of the contract for the economic development services subject to acceptance by the other party as presented.
I'll second that.
A motion second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We now go to agenda item 6. Mr. Sumner, you've asked to speak on that.
Yes, Tim Sumner, Greenlee County Sheriff here on this item, just as I spoke on it before and several other times. Again, that this procurement, your own procurement policies are not being followed. big about saying you need to follow the policies and your procurement policies, and yet it's not happening. If you look at your procurement policies yet again, as I pointed out before, this isn't the proper way to go about it. Some of this request here for PPV SUVs or trucks as available be for the sheriff's office. Again, that right there is a request that I would be bringing forth as the sheriff myself in accordance with your purchasing policies and also in accordance with what I have already stated we are proceeding forward with on our vehicle acquisitions and the necessities that we have for the sheriff's office as far as vehicles go. So I'll go ahead and leave it at that for right now, just to be on record again. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hines.
Morning, Tony Hines, Fleet Manager. We were out looking for the best way to acquire the vehicles, whether it be through leasing through enterprise, going out for bid and everything like that, state contract prices like that. I did check with Kempton's at Chevrolet, and all the vehicles are apparently available for order. Even the PPVs, the order date, cutoff date is early September. So if we go out for bid on those, we need to go out quick for those. So it'd be my recommendation that we go out for bid for these vehicles and see how we do on those.
Any questions?
No, just clarification that this is just to go out for bid.
Just to go
For
out
these
for bid.
vehicles that need to be replaced based on our
Right,
life cycle program, right?
right.
If not, if there's no further discussion, a motion would be in order.
Well, I move that we approve the permission to explore purchase or leasing options to acquire vehicles for the Greeley County fleet as presented.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, mister.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now go to agenda item 7. And I assume that Mr. Adams, you will present this.
I sure will. So agenda item 7. We are talking about the tax rates. If you see on those tax rates, our tax rates have not changed. If you look at those rates, this has got all the filters in from all of the other entities. We are, Ms. Stan Burby here is the treasurer, and she is the one collecting taxes for all of those entities. And so they come and give us those rates. We don't have any decision-making authority on those rates. The rates we have already set are our rates to set. Everything else is what's handed to us from the towns, fire districts, and those other entities that we collect taxes for.
Any questions? There was,
I have none.
okay, a motion would be in order.
Well, with what has been said, I so move to adopt the tax levies and tax rates for Greeley County, the Public Health District, Service District, the Flood Control District, the Fire District Assistance Levy, the towns of Duncan and Clifton, the Duncan, Morenci, Blue, and Eagle School Districts, the Duncan Rural Fire District, the Franklin Irrigation District, and the Gila Institute for Technology for both Duncan and Morenci as set forth on the final fiscal year 2023 to 2024 assessed valuations, tax levies, and tax rates sheet as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you very, very much. We'll now go to agenda item 8A, and Mr. Sumner, you've asked to speak on that.
Thank you, Tim Sumner, Greeley County Sheriff. May I approach Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please. You.
So this right here was something that after that comment was made about the litigation amounts, I did ask Rene Ontiveros for some records. He did provide those records. That's what you have in front of you. I highlighted some of those. Piece of it was already brought forth and discussed during the letter that was read by Mr. Adams on behalf of Mr. Rapier. So that piece was already discussed, which I was going to point out the inaccuracy there. However, the further inaccuracy though is very clearly that Mr. Rapier did tell you and did state and made it clear that all litigation funds were going to be paid in 2023, FY 2023 out of the general services 016 budget. Because at the time, there was no budget capacity within the sheriff's office, if you recall that. And so all of it for FY 2023 was paid for, as he stated clearly, in the 016 General Services Fund. However, if you look at this on the documents I provided, that's not the case. The amounts that came out for your attorneys, Jones, Skelton, and Hochulidi, came out of the 016 budget. The ones came from Moyes, Sellers, and Hendricks for my firm came out of 019, the sheriff's budget. If you'll look at the last, and this is for the FY 23. If you look at the last piece there that came out of my budget, you'll see it created a discrepancy there. It'd be $48,000 over because I only had a $15,000 budget approved by you for FY 23. There was no litigation money in that budget for FY 23 when you set that over a year ago for your final adopted budget. So it was stated clearly that all funds were paid out of 016 general services, and that was not the case. And you can see that from the records here. Clearly that 019 is a sheriff's budget, created that budget to go over. It also makes your forms, your final budget you just adopted, which shows the FY 23 budgeted amount, the FY 23 actual expenditures, and then the FY 24 new budget amount inaccurate because the column for the what was spent is inaccurate, and it was like I said, it was stated it was out of one account, and yet it was not. So those are the records I wanted to provide. I'm glad the other part was already presented on, brought forth after I looked into these records to question the validity of the comments that have been made about this. So and again, we're just spending more taxpaying dollars out of all this by dragging this on. So I'd rather get it done much sooner than later. So thank you for your time, and you can have those records there. And if you have any other discussion, I guess Mr. Ontiveros could answer for you better than I could. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Okay. Go ahead. Austin on the.
I don't have anything for the county, state, and legislative or budget and legislative issues.
Okay. We'll go now to 8B, and Mr. Sumner, you asked to talk on 8B.
Thank you again. Back and forth. Your exercise.
Get another microphone for that staff, right?
Tim Sumner, Greeley County Sheriff. On this item, I know typically Bianca does a great job. She's really been doing a really great job, particularly of making sure to catch the blue for graduations and the blue for the first day of school and stuff like that. I know she's not here today, so I'm sure she would have had that. But as Morency and Duncan already started. You had those on your calendars as she already provided to you. The blue does start up on the 14th here, coming up on Monday. So I'll be making a trip up there, but they'll be starting their school as well, and hopefully they'll have a great year. I did see one more thing on the for calendaring. That is actually today, August the 10th of 2023 at 2 p.m. It's the town council meeting in Clifton. One of their agenda items, particularly number 5 under new business, is discussion regarding the Clifton Police 911 system switching over to the Greenlee County 911 Dispatch Center. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that or not. Being on their agenda, I was not, and so I've seen it on their agenda. I'll be there today, but that is a calendar item for you if you're interested in that, and seeing what the discussion is or what decisions are going on from that decision that they're going to be making. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and is Laura going to handle the calendar, or?
I can go over the calendar.
Okay, thank you.
Again, we just talked about, the sheriff just mentioned the schools have started. We have our meeting today. We have a county managers meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Again, Blue School starts on the 14th. Looks like we have a WIFA meeting on the 16th. There's a SEGO Executive Council meeting on the 18th. It looks like we still have a meeting for the 21st. I believe we're trying to iron out the time on that.
Last I heard 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock is what I.
Okay, so I think we're at 3. I know we were working with Craig on that. He's supposed to come down and give us a presentation. So we'll put 3 on that, and I'll verify on that time and get that out to you guys. We have a cattle growers meeting at the South Annex on the 26th. Anything else for August?
On the 12th, the Greeley County Showdown.
Oh, showmanship showdown?
Yeah, showmanship showdown, and that starts at 8 o'clock. That's at the fairgrounds this Saturday. That's quite a big deal.
Right, awesome, get that added. Anything else in August? All right, into September, looks Monday will be off for Labor Day, offices will be closed. Our next meeting is that Wednesday, the 6th at 8 a.m. That'll be our regular board meeting. Coming up to County Fair on the 14th of September, the 14th through the 17th. It's looking like right now we'll have 13 rides, so we'll have much closer to a full carnival. It'll be more to how it was in the past, which is awesome. I think we have 9 major rides. So I think they'll have a zipper and some of those other bigger rides, which will be very nice since we haven't had that in a while. So very, very good there. Let's see. And then on to the 19th, we have another board meeting. On the 20th, we have small counties, ECO and WIFA. 21st is CSA Board of Directors meeting. And that's all I have on the calendar for September. Is there anything else for September?
I just have, on the 30th of September is the FMI picnic up there in Morenci. So that'll be a big to do. And they're bringing in, I was trying to find the name of this.
It's Lauren.
Yeah.
Bagel?
No,
No,
that would have been
that
good.
would have been good. Sorry, that's the only one I know.
I'm trying
They do
to-
have a big performer coming in on the 30th, though. I think she's opening for Tim
Yeah,
McGraw. Lauren
Lauren
Elena.
Elena,
That's
yeah.
that's
So I
the
guess she
person.
got second in American Idol or something.
Yes, so
So,
that'll be kind of neat
yeah,
for sure. I think that's on that 30th that evening. So,
yes.
all right, and then on to October. We have fall break for Morenci schools for the first 2 weeks of October. We have a board meeting on the 3rd. And then another board meeting on the 17th, followed by a WIFA meeting on the 18th. Do we have anything else in
Yes, we
October?
do.
All right,
We have CSA Legislative Summit. Let me get those dates for you.
Yeah, good.
That's gonna be in Coconino County. CSA Policy Summit starts on the 11th through the 13th.
11th through the 13th. Awesome, we'll get that on the calendar.
Also on the 1st and 2nd is the WIR board meeting.
On the 1st and 2nd of
October.
Of October, yeah, that's a Sunday, Monday. I guess they run into some conflicts. It's generally on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but they scheduled it. I already have it scheduled, and so that's when they're gonna have it.
And can you tell me the title of that one again? I'm sorry.
The Western Interstate Region.
Are you gonna be okay with the meeting on the 3rd? The board meeting
Yeah,
on the
that'd
3rd?
be better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we might bring that up now rather than.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll need to change.
Do we
that.
need to move that meeting to
Yeah.
later in the week?
Yes.
We want to do
or
Wednesday?
Thursday,
You guys have a preference on which day, Wednesday or Thursday?
prefer Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday.
Okay. So we'll move it over.
Thank you. I'm glad someone's awake.
Ron's got it. Thursday, the 5th.
Okay.
My birthday.
All right.
Uh,
You bring the cupcakes.
All right, anything else for October? Anything else for the calendar?
Nope.
No, David? Okay, thank you.
Well. Well, Siskamani is coming. What is that new date?
They haven't scheduled it. Have they
I haven't
firmed that
seen-
up?
We'll look up, I'll put a note on there to check in on when he's coming in. So we,
Yeah, okay,
I-
okay. It was gonna be the 11th and I got moved and so,
Yeah.
okay.
Then I heard, well, anyway,
we'll
I
get it on
don't
the
think,
calendar.
I think that's in the air.
Okay.
I don't think he's firmed up a date. Okay, there's nothing more on the calendar events. We'll go to agenda item 10, consent agenda.
Don't move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We'll now go to agenda item 11 and supervisor reports. Mr.
I don't have any to report. Have one
Okay.
tomorrow, but that's.
Yeah,
The only thing I have is that I did attend Senator Sinema and Congressman Siskamani there in at EAC last week. Good meeting with those folks. It was nice to see those folks from different parties working together to get things done and a lot of good conversation and on the issues that are going on in Graham and Greenlee. And I guess I'm trying to set something up with Cinema in regards to our Tyler Farms project and waiting to hear from them. So that's all I have.
good. And I also attend, but I don't, David, I think said it all. It was a good meeting. They gave everyone a chance to speak and you know, the main issues are water, housing and roads. That was the three main issues. I think almost everyone brought those issues up and with that,
And by the way, I just want to make a comment that one of the things that really just kind of shocked me was that how Pima is growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, that place is just boom.
But there's still only 2A.
shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a minute. Excuse me. There being no more formal business, we'll adjourn this meeting and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm not